Get ready for an experience like no other from the creators of the Cheap Seats podcast. This is FF PodSquad. We're bringing you fantasy football like never before. This is fantasy for fans by fans, featuring the soon-to-be famous PodSquad sound-off. Now, here's your tour guide for this fantasy adventure, the fantasy guru himself, the big man, Aaron Spillman.
What is going on, everybody? I am the big man, Aaron Spillman, and this is FF PodSquad. Glad you could be here with us. Today is Wednesday, September 17th, 2025, and we are live. I want to thank everybody again for participating in the show, giving all feedback. Again, without you guys, there would be no show. So let's get started. But first off, I wanted to ask you guys, I wanted to share with you guys, this little cool game called Treat. This is a game for dogs where you pick these shelter dogs in the game, and they get treats. You got to earn treats for these dogs, and these dogs are actually real dogs from shelters, and the treats that they're earning is real treats for these real life dogs in the shelters. So download the app, guys. If you guys are dog lovers and you want to help out shelter dogs, this is the perfect thing to do it with. That's Treat, the gaming app. It's the gaming company that impacts lives, and it's the dogs' lives. So download it, guys. All right, guys. Now let's get into the show and the real business here. We got a special guest co-host coming up. He is a part of the PodSquad community. This man is probably the biggest fantasy fanatic I know. He's in more leagues than I've ever met anybody to be in. And this guy knows fantasy. Just ask him. He'll tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Raider J to the studios.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
What's going on, Jay? How's it going, buddy?
Oh, just another day in the fantasy life.
Glad you could be here. Glad you could help everybody out with the show. I'm glad you're here, that I can pick your brain and fantasy. I know there's a lot of people out there that would be glad to hear your thoughts on things.
Absolutely. Appreciate the opportunity.
So before we get started in our fantasy 4-pack and stuff, I want everybody to get to know Raider J. Raider J is a transplant from Oakland, California, and he's now here in Kentucky. Tell us, Jay, how is the fantasy environment or the fantasy landscape different compared to here in Kentucky than how it is like back home in Oakland?
Just California in general. Football and fantasy is life. It's culture. It's everything out there. People wear their fan gear daily, all day, every day, and they rep their team like no other. They love fantasy. They love to play it. And as you know, I've in a bunch of leagues, and I love to play.
Yeah, we were just discussing this, and when I say he's a fantasy fanatic, guys, this guy is in 150 plus leagues.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy. There's no way that I could keep up with it.
I think last year I was in 100. The year before that, maybe 150, and then now 152. Slowly.
Yeah, that seems like that would be hard to keep up with. I know, like, as far as players and stuff, of course, you're following probably a lot of the same players across a lot of your leagues. So as far as getting player info, that probably isn't a problem. But I bet it's pretty time consuming and stressful when it comes down to like injuries and setting your lineup, especially if you got injuries and you got guys that with questionable tags right there at that 1 o'clock window, and you got them
Absolutely.
across multiple leagues. I think that'd be a little taxing, but other than that, I don't think people realize how easy doing multiple leagues are.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Every year I tell myself not to do so many, but I find myself jumping in one, jumping in 2, 3 a day, and just
Well,
have
like
fun.
you said before during a pre-show, it's kind of like an investment for you. You do a lot of money leagues,
Right,
so it's kind of like an investment for you.
right. Last year I won 13,000. 10,000 of that came from $1,000 league, and the other 3,000 came from just the leagues range anywhere from a couple free ones to $20 ones to $100 ones to.
Right, right.
I look at it as I'm investing a couple $20 here and there a day, or $100, and at the end of after Christmas, when I need some of that recoup money back, I
Right.
possibly win some.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, and especially like, that 10 grand league you won. I mean, that's a pretty nice vacation right there.
Oh yeah, and that's that. Yeah, that's what we did with it. That's what we did with
I
it.
mean, I love it. I love it. All right. So now that I got you in here, we're going to get into the show. We're going to get into Fantasy 4-Pack. If y'all are new to the show, Fantasy 4-Pack is a 4-pack of questions I ask every guest co-host. And it revolves around anything fantasy pretty much. So let's get started. Number 1 in the Fantasy 4-Pack. What is your mindset and strategy in the event that you have a player like Joe Burrow who gets injured this early in the season and going to be out for the majority of the season? How are you tackling that?
Well, first I'm gonna see if I have any trade capital, anything I can give up. Try to make a trade, even if you got to downgrade. Unfortunately, you got hit by injury, so you're gonna have to try and make moves here and there. And then I'm definitely going to the waiver wire and seeing who's available and doing my research on who can be a possible breakout. So if I'm like, I don't mind, for example, in the instance of the Joe Burrow thing, I wouldn't mind hitting the waiver wire. Okay, I can't find no quarterback. Luckily, Jake Browning isn't the best, but as far as backup quarterbacks, he's pretty decent. So I wouldn't mind taking.
Oh, most definitely. And he has the weapons there to be a fill-in, a spot starter here and there when you need him to be. I mean, hopefully if you did pick somebody like a Joe Burrow and he got hurt, hopefully you had a backup plan already in place and had a backup quarterback. There have been plenty of times in my life that I've not picked a backup quarterback, and it's come back to bite me in the butt.
Yeah, I hear you. I always roster 2 quarterbacks myself, making sure their bye weeks don't match up, of course.
Right.
In case injury and or for the bye week.
Okay. So are there any players right now that you're pressing the panic button on this early in the season?
Not necessarily pressing the panic button, but I'm a little bit panicked as far as I drafted a lot of Travion Henderson, and just the way they're using him right now has me in a worry. So
I kind of expected this early on, which I told you. You and I had this debate back and forwards many times that I felt like they were going to ease him in, and especially early on. But I'm not worried about him. I think by mid-season, we'll see him overtake the majority of the touches. It might not be exactly what we think. It might be like a 55% carry share. And then like, if he's getting like an 18% target share for a running back, that's pretty damn good right there. So, yeah. I mean, just for the simple fact that how he's so integral in their passing game, I think you would have to at least be patient with him and hold on to him for, I would say, at least mid-season anyways, before you do any droppings.
Absolutely. I agree. I would hold on to him. It's just quite frustrating when you see Gibson out there. Like, are you kidding me?
Especially when you're drafting Henderson as high as you're drafting him. I know a lot of people have probably drafted him, myself including, as an RB2,
Right.
just so I could have him because, no, I don't want him as an RB2. I'd much rather have him as a flex or a bench player, but I knew that if I wanted him, I was going to have to take him really early.
Taking him in the next round.
Yeah. Chase Brown's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So who of the early breakout players do you expect that will sustain, for the most part, what they've done for the whole season?
So I'm gonna give you Egbuka for me. I think he is breaking out as that receiver. I feel he's in the perfect situation. They want to go younger. Mike Evans is older. Yes, he can still do it at a high caliber, but you're starting to see Egbuka get more volume, and he's there with Godwin out. And then by the time Godwin comes back and starts ramping up and everything, by then Egbuka is already past him.
Yeah, Egbuka should be able to hit the ground running by mid-season as far as like knowing the playbook and things like that, and it be a more of just go and do the job instead of having to think about it anymore.
Right. And I feel like right now, sometimes when you watch him, he looks like he's already like been there, like he's already been in the NFL for a few years.
I can see that. Now, the one breakout for me that I think, I don't necessarily know if his numbers will be sustainable, but they're looking pretty good, and I think he'll sustain being that guy the whole season, is Roma Dunze.
Oh,
okay. He's looked really good the first two games of the year. He's put me in a spot where I feel a lot more better about my wide receiver 2 spot in a lot of leagues because I have him. I think he's definitely one I think could be sustained. And it would surprise me, and you were one of them that actually said it first, is that DJ Moore may not be the guy anymore there.
Yeah, I can see them either not necessarily cutting him, but moving on from him by the end of next year, and or possibly trading him depending how their season turns out.
Right, and you're also seeing him being utilized a lot more in like as a gadget player, I guess you could say.
Right.
Which, some guys work well as a gadget player. Taysom Hill, Deebo Samuel, guys like that are great at it. I've never seen DJ Moore do that before. So I don't know if he's going to be that guy. And right now, for the first 2 weeks, it's not looking like he is that guy.
I think if this keeps up by week 4 or 5, I say it's a Dunze's field that he's the wide receiver. He's their wide receiver. That's the one there. Like, he's the one.
I mean, the way things are looking, I'm pretty confident Odunze is going to be that guy for the rest of the year, and probably if Caleb Williams at the quarterback, probably going to be his that duo for
that go-to guy
at least the next few years, anyways.
Right. I see that.
All right, number 4. Who is the early breakout player that you think is a mirage? You don't think it's going to be sustainable? Just a flash in a pan.
I think for me, it's going to be a quarterback, Daniel Jones. I feel like everybody's high on him. I feel like everybody's going crazy about him, which is fine and all, because he shows flashes, don't get me wrong. And he could maybe sustain it, the way he lit up Denver's defense. However, I just don't see it. I think he turns back into the old Daniel Jones that he is.
You think Cinderella turns back into the pumpkin, huh?
Right.
I'm not so sure. I like his running ability, which to me, that keeps him valuable in fantasy. And the fact that Shane Steichen is calling the plays, I mean, Daniel Jones is leaps and bounds better than Richardson.
Right.
Um,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think Shane Steichen could pull a rabbit out of his hat and make Danny Dimes look like a top 15 quarterback this year.
I mean, it's possible the way he look what he did in Denver. I don't know. I just feel like he's gonna go back to the old Daniel Jones that we know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that he won't, but there's probably other players that I think that have looked good that I don't know if they're necessarily gonna, keep it. But yeah, I think Danny Dimes it ain't bad pick.
Right.
All right, let's get into PodSquad sound off. For those of you that don't know what PodSquad sound off is, this is the time where you guys have the opportunity to come on the show and sound off on what we're talking about. So let me get that link posted up here in the comments for you guys, and feel free to come on in. All right, guys, the link is up. Feel free to come on in now, guys. Let's get started, though, Jay. We're going to talk fantasy studs from week 2. And I'm going to give you who I think, and I'm going to give you who the PodSquad community voted on. And then I want to hear your pick.
Okay, sounds good.
So my PodSquad stud of week 2 is Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft had a career game. He had 8 receptions for over 120 some yards. I think he had 1 touchdown. He ended up scoring 24 fantasy points, which I think that was tops for all tight ends this past week.
Right. Now I like that pick. However, I don't know if he sustains that either. He could possibly be sustainable with readout.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I actually had a talk with another friend today about him, and I feel like, and he did this a little bit last year, like he'll have these good games, and then you'll see like 2 or 3 games where he's like single-digit fantasy points, or he's just not getting a lot of volume in each game, and then he'll pop off. So kind of like Joe Mixon the last couple of years, he'd have like a few really good like standout games to like make his numbers look really outstanding. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Tucker Kraft, but I do think he's a little bit inconsistent week in and week out.
I would agree with you, and the way they run that offense as well. 1 week it's Romeo Dobbs going off. Another week it's Tucker Kraft. The next week it's they kind of spread that.
Montavian Wicks, yeah. I mean,
right.
one good thing going for Kraft right now is Watson's out. Ann Reed is out as well.
Yep.
I'm really surprised Matthew Golden hasn't stepped up so
I agree.
far. But again, it's only week 2.
Right. This is very true.
Go ahead.
I think for me, top performer for me is it's got to be Neighbors. For me.
Yeah, Neighbors had a really good week. Do you think he's quarterback proof?
I think he is.
I agree. There's a few guys out there that are him. I think Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, guys like that. Maybe Puka Nacua.
Yeah. See that?
Yeah, I would definitely slot Neighbors in there, and I think he's. I said this last year coming in, and I'll say it again. I think he's by far the best receiver out of his draft class.
Oh yeah, for sure. He can catch anything, anywhere from anybody.
Yeah. So the Pod Squad community picked James Cook. James Cook had a really good game. He's actually had really good game the last 2 games. Do you think his touchdowns are going to be sustainable?
I will say he surprised me. I didn't think he would be doing this good, just due to his holdout. I thought he would need time to ramp up and get back into it, and the way they run that offense. And so, I mean, it's very possible.
Right, and then just last year, he had a career year in rushing touchdowns. He had like 16. I think he led the NFL in rushing touchdowns.
Right.
And the prior 2 seasons of that, he had like 6 altogether. So,
Right.
But the way it's looking right now, like, man, if you would have asked me before the season who I'd rather have, Walker or Cook, I'd be telling you Walker all day.
Yeah, I would have went with Walker as well. I didn't think Cook was gonna. He's proven me wrong. Now I know it's only week 2, but he is proving me wrong.
Yeah. I will say this, ladies and gentlemen, I have been wrong just as many times about players as have I been right. So take everything I say with a grain of salt.
Yes, sir. This is just advice for everybody. So don't beat us up if your players.
All right. So let's get into the fantasy duds of week 2.
Ooh.
I'll go ahead, since you're the guest, I'll let you go ahead and tell me yours first.
Derrick Henry. It's got to be Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry came off of that big game that he had where he was just running all over the place. And that Cleveland front line just shut him down. He couldn't get nothing. I mean, he had 11 attempts, 23 yards, 2 fantasy points.
Yeah, he had, this probably has to go down as one of the lowest outputs that he's had, where he's had at least 10 touches.
Right. That's
funny you say that, because the fantasy Pod Squad community agrees with you. They also picked Derrick Henry. Now, my dud of the week, it's a little bit more personal for me because I had him on a couple of my fantasy teams. Justin Fields.
Oh,
I understand he did get injured and stuff with the concussion, but your quarterback, especially a quarterback like Justin Fields, cannot be turning in a 4-point fantasy performance ever.
Yeah, that's rough.
So the dud for me goes to Justin Fields.
Especially coming off that game that he had in week 1.
Yeah. Maybe because it was against the Steelers, and it was, kind of like a revenge game for him. Even though they lost, he still looked dynamite.
Yeah, he was throwing it everywhere.
As did Aaron Rodgers, I might say, as well. I mean, in that game, Rodgers looked like he turned back the clock a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be sustainable either.
Which one? Rodgers
or Fields?
I agree. I'll say that too. I agree.
Fields, I think, will have weeks where he's dominating, and I think he'll finish as a top 15 to top 10 quarterback. But I think he'll have too many games where you're going to see his floor, and I just don't know how I feel about him going forward right now.
The good part about him is he does have that rushing ability too that helps with the fantasy a little bit.
Yeah. If he's healthy, I'll start him most weeks. But if I have other options available, I'll probably be playing them.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to get into week 3, love and hate. I'm going to give you mine to start out with. I told you this pre-show. I'm in love with Kyler Murray this week. Murray has his best games against the San Francisco 49ers. I know San Francisco's defense is a lot better, and I know it's a division game, so it should be a lot harder for him. But for some reason, Kyler Murray has his best games against San Francisco. And I'm predicting a 30-plus point fantasy output for Kyler Murray this week.
Nice. I don't hate that. I like that. And they do every time they meet for some reason. It's just an all-out war.
He does. And it doesn't matter how good their defense is. He just really –
right.
It's like they have their number. Now, when he plays Seattle, he's awful against them.
Yeah.
So, if this game was against Seattle, he would probably be my hate of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
So my hate of the week is actually Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs have been looking pretty good so far. I was kind of fading him early on, but he's been looking good. But he's my hate, particular because look what Cleveland did to Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
and I mean, I love Josh Jacobs, but he's not a Derrick Henry.
Right. And if they made like that.
And I feel like Cleveland's run defense is probably the best in the NFL right now. And Mason Graham in the middle of that defense, along with other guys, looking pretty darn good to me.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that one. Definitely.
All right, so let's get to your love-hate for week 3.
Okay, so my love is Javonte Williams. The reason why I say that is because he's playing a shaky Chicago defense, which I believe they're in the top 5 or top 7 for allowing most fantasy points to running backs. The way that Javonte's been playing and the volume that he's getting, I believe that he's going to have a nice week.
Agreed. Now, would you agree that you think Javonte Williams is going to sustain this type of output for the whole year if he's healthy?
I would say so. The reason being the volume. The reason being there's nobody really behind him. Yes, you have Jaden Blue, which I thought, Jaden Blue would slowly start taking over, but that injury kind of set him back a little bit.
My assessment of Jaden Blue is kind of like Mitchell Trubisky a little bit. When Mitchell Trubisky came into the league, my biggest complaint about him was he couldn't even beat out the previous guy who didn't even make the NFL. So how are you going to take this guy as a top 3? I think he went 2nd overall to the Bears. How are you going to take Mitchell Trubisky, who wasn't even a multi-year starter, couldn't even beat out the incumbent early on in college, who didn't even make the pros? So that was my biggest thing. And Jaden Blue, I'll say the same thing. I understand when Jonathan Brooks was there, he was behind Brooks. But once Brooks left, that backfield was his for the taking. And he didn't. And there was nobody there at Texas that was going to challenge him until there was. So I feel like maybe Jaden Blue may not be the guy that we think he is.
Makes sense. And see, Williams, it's almost like when he had that little explosive moment in Denver, and he was high on him. Yeah, and then he got injured, and then I just thought, like, okay, it's over for Javonte. But
it looked that way. It definitely looked that way.
And it looks like he's back. I mean, he looks legit.
I mean, he definitely looks healthy. That Cowboys offensive line is actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. Actually, on offense, Dallas is looking pretty damn good overall.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that for sure. Now their defense.
All right, so yeah, definitely their defense. I guarantee they're missing Micah right now.
Oh yeah.
So who do you hate for this week?
I gotta hate my man Ashton Genty.
Oh.
And the reason why is because where you're taking him, where we all took him, or your league mates took him in the first round, he's not showing that first round ability the way they're using him, and that O-line is not giving him no holes or no room. Yes, they do here and there where you'll see a breakout play, but not very often. So that's who I'm going to hate. And they're playing the Washington Commanders. That defense is not the best, but they got a good little defense over there.
They do pretty good against the run. They've actually got a top 10 defense against running backs this year so far. Of course, we're only 2 weeks in, so that's kind of inflated right now. So we'll see, half the season goes. We'll see where everybody's ranking at. So I guess the PodSquad community, they love Jordan Mason going up against at the Bengals.
I like that.
The Bengals defense has showed improvement the last 2 weeks. Are you convinced that they're better for the year, or do you think they're gonna?
I don't think they're
at some point.
I don't know how they're doing it, but I just don't see it happening all this year. But I do agree with the Jordan Mason take. I'm not going to push back on that. Now, had you told me Jordan Mason with Aaron Jones in there, no. But since it's Jordan Mason taking over now, I think he's going to do lovely over there.
I was really high on Mason even before the Jones injury. You know that.
Yeah.
I even got the prediction. My hot take is Jordan Mason's going to lead the league in rushing touchdowns this year, even with Aaron Jones. Now,
in the beginning, I was this guy's crazy, and now it's could be true.
It was a hot take. It was a hot take, but my biggest thing was, you look at him, he's huge. He's like 6'1", 220 pounds. He's a between the tackles runner. He's a goal line guy. So I felt like every goal line snap from 5 yards out is going to be his unless they pass it.
Right.
Like, I just felt like he could be, he could show a little bit of kind of how like Jamal Williams did with Detroit back a few years ago when they had Swift.
Right.
So that was my thinking. But I definitely love the PodSquad community's pick. And they hate Jake Ferguson. Now, Chicago, they might be atrocious against the run right now. But their pass game against tight ends, as of right now, they're top 5 defense against fantasy tight ends right now. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I get
so that. I don't know. I still like Jake Ferguson a lot, but I'd probably not start him either.
Fair
okay. Now, since we're through 2 weeks and we've seen quite a few injuries and we've seen some breakouts and we've seen some duds, who is your top waiver claim for week 3 going into week 3?
I think it's going to be A.O. Manor. Alec A.O. Manor from the Tennessee Titans. He's getting the volume over there. And once that offense gets to going, he's getting the volume.
Yeah, I think he would be. That's my number one guy as well. I think you may not want to start him right away, but he would be the perfect stash for later on. He's already getting the volume. Last 2 games, he's had 8 targets in each game. So he's definitely going to get the volume. And like you said, a Cam Ward and this offense gets better and more acclimated together, and the chemistry gets more. I could definitely see A.O. Manor, however you want to pronounce his name, jumping into some starting lineups this year.
Right. I agree.
Couple other, if you're in some smaller, maybe some 10-team leagues, Danny Dimes might be a nice pickup for you. I know Jay's not as big on him as I am right now. I like his rushing upside, and I like his head coach. So I would take a chance on him. I mean, what's the risk if you got him on your bench and you're dropping him for somebody that probably isn't going to make your starting lineup anyways?
Right.
And then if he breaks out or if you have injury to quarterback, you got your backup right there.
Right. I agree. And another one I would probably throw out there would be Bashaw Tootin for running backs if you need a running back stash.
Yeah.
It seems like they shipped off Tank Bigsby, and it might be a little committee there. Maybe not. Maybe it was just that one game he was getting that little bit of volume in the touchdown, but it could be something.
Yeah, I think Bashaw Tootin will get more work. I do think ETN is going to get the lion's share early on. But my biggest thing with ETN is his injury history. I mean, if he can't stay injured or if he can't stay healthy, then Bashaw's next guy up.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
I definitely like them. Real quick, the original show I was going to have you on, I wanted to talk rookie running backs. So real quick, we're going to go off subject real quick. I told you we'd probably end up doing this. How do you feel about the rookie running backs in general? Like, are you panicking on anybody yet?
Not necessarily panicking, but just a little bit worried about the usage of the RJ Harvey, the usage of the Travion Henderson. I think those two, I know everybody was semi-high on them. Some people had different opinions on them, which is fine. But I didn't think it would be this bad where you're seeing them, the third running back getting touches.
Right.
I thought maybe ease them in little by little, and it's barely week 2, so it could be still possible. But
right, I told you I felt like they would ease him in, and I felt like it would be maybe a running back by committee early on, just because I felt like Henderson, and I still feel this way, I don't feel like he can handle a full workload. I feel like he needs to have that second back to kind of keep him fresh, and which I think is a good thing for him because he's a home run type hitter. So you're right, so every time he touches the ball, there's a chance he could take it to the house. There may be games where we see him have 2 to 3 points, but then there may be games where we see him have like 50-point outputs.
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest thing with him. I think New England's going to try to run more closely to what Detroit was doing with Gibbs and Montgomery. Of course, Stevenson being the Montgomery role and, Henderson playing the Gibbs role. But I do think Gibbs is still the back to have out of that offense.
Makes sense. What do you think about
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think Cam Scatterboo is another one. I think the more the season goes, the more you're going to see him progress as well.
I agree. I don't know if you've seen the press conference because I guess Scatterboo had more carries, or I'm not sure exactly how that happened, just in week 2. And the coach went ahead and said, it's because Tracy was doing a lot of kickoff returns and he was winded. So that's why. But we might go back to just having Tracy be the, that main running back. But I kind of feel like Scatterboo is already starting to take over.
Yeah, I do too. And I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed this across the league, across a lot of teams with the new kickoff rules. They're employing a lot more running back to do the returns.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah.
And I think that's because you got that closer blocking and stuff. So it's more in between the tackles at times, possibly.
That would make sense. Yeah, because you're starting to see the Kyron Williams, the Tyrone Tracy's.
Well, you were even seeing Travion Henderson in the preseason.
Travion Henderson, yep,
right.
Another one.
So, I mean, you're seeing a lot of running backs, a lot more running backs than what you have in the past. Definitely take the reins on kickoffs.
Right.
All right, brother. We're going to get into our final segment, and this is our week 2 game balls. I want to hear your game ball. I'll give you my game ball, and then we'll give you what the squad said.
I think my game ball has to go to Malik Neighbors. 1, quarterback proof, like we're saying. 2, he was doing it all out there. The volume, and I mean, look who's throwing to him. And he even made that quarterback look like, he's not 5 quarterback.
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of excited to see how Jackson Dart comes in, because if he's any better than what Russell is right now, wow, Neighbors is just going to explode.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that take.
All right. You actually took my game ball, so I'm going to give a new game ball out, and we're going to give it to Danny Dimes. Second week in a row. I mean, and I think it's just a little bit more impressive than what Neighbors did, just because the fact that it was against that Denver defense. And y'all know that Denver defense is tops in the league.
Yeah, they shut down everybody, but somehow Dimes got it done.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely take him right now, stash him on my bench. Maybe even start him if you got a bad matchup with your other quarterback.
Right. Or you had that Joe Burrow.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, I'm going to give you the squad communities pick, and this is actually a pretty surprising one. The PodSquad community has given their game ball to none other than Brandon Aubrey, the Dallas Cowboys kicker.
I mean, he is the best player aside from CeeDee Lamb out there.
I mean, dude, if you want an offensive guy that's going to score points week in and week out, Brandon Aubrey is your guy. For a kicker, Brandon Aubrey is your guy. And I can't wait to see him get a 70-yard field goal.
Yeah, man.
I think it's already been done. I think Little did it down there with Jacksonville.
Yeah, him and Cam
Little. I think it was a preseason game.
They're making kickers look cool out there.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That was cool. All right, Jay, we are at the end of our show. Thank you, my brother, for coming in and gracing us with your fantasy expertise.
Appreciate the opportunity, brother.
Hopefully we can have you again sometime. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Jay for coming in and for his fantasy expertise as well. And hopefully we can get him to come back. Until next time, Jay, I'm going to sign you out, brother, and then I'm going to get out of here myself.
Sounds good. Much love to everybody. Remember to have fun. Don't ever take it personal and just enjoy fantasy. Because once it's over, we have to count down those grueling months until we're able to draft again and do it again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Much love, brother.
All right. Thanks again, bro.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. I want to thank Jay one more time for coming in, being a special guest. Make sure you guys tune in next week and see what all the fun's all about. And don't be afraid, guys, to come in and talk a little smack with us. That's what we're here for. We want to hear you guys. So until next time, guys, remember, it's a fantasy thing. We're out.
Come join us next week and get in on the fun. Find us on Facebook at Fantasy Football Pod Squad, the group page, to be part of the show, and follow us on X at Squad1 at FF Pod Squad. Like us and follow us on TikTok at FF Pod Squad 1. Until next week, remember, nothing personal. It's a fantasy thing.